The anticipation for Sanctum has been building since it was first announced in December. Expecting to watch a film along similar lines to Descent or other movies of this brand brought a feeling of excitement. There is, however, a clear distinction between Sanctum and the other movies of this genre.
This way. You sure? Nope.
This movie, like so many others, fails to deliver acceptable content that is up to par with today's film standards. Two key aspects of this genre, fear and claustrophobia, were not present during the telling of this story. There is an expectancy to instill these feelings when watching a movie along these lines. Instead, the audience is treated to a heroic father and son adventure. Despite being advertised as a movie by James Cameron, this was not the case. The movie, in fact, was directed by Alistair Grierson. The thought of who might be directing occurs to anyone who has watched previous films by James Cameron. It was apparent from the outset that Cameron was either having some downtime, didn't put his heart into the movie, or the fact that he wasn't directing it at all. Having watched films such as Avatar, Aliens, and Titanic, all epic Cameron films in their own regards, I realized that Cameron held a different role in the production of this movie. This, however, was not made clear until the credits. It is important to note that as a result of him not directing this film but producing, it maintained a marginal rating. Grierson created a mediocre tale of the reality of being trapped miles beneath the surface of the earth. While the plot was riddled with imperfections, the sense of urgency and heroism was brought to light. The story of being trapped has been told in many different ways. Sanctum delivers a fresh perspective. The age-old tale and archetypes of long past are used extensively in the portrayal of this true event. The movie is centered around a group of divers who are funded to explore uncharted caves that are flooded. These caves extend well beyond the reach of normal expeditioners and require fancy and elaborate diving gear. Hidden beneath the murky depths of the unexplored, one expects to find dormant, horrific creatures. Expecting to see other forms of life at these depths, then realizing there is nothing lurking in these tunnels, disappointment soon grabs the attention that is already at its wit's end. It is hard to imagine that there are no forms of life in these caverns. The only life form that we know exists in the subterranean is the bat. The understanding that one cannot simply create a living organism is appreciated, but insects and cockroaches have been known to live in environments of extreme circumstance, and in this movie there are none. This ignorance from the director displays an insult to the intelligence of the average viewer. Artistically, the massive caves and underwater exploration are a sight for sore eyes. It is no wonder this movie is delivered in high-def 3D. From the outset of the movie, the thought occurs as to why someone would pay to watch this movie in 3D. But that question is soon answered upon the arrival at the dive site. Compounding on the artistic design of the caves and exploration was the music. David Hirschfelder created a majestic atmosphere, gave the movie some light where it was dark, and developed an emotional attachment between the audience and the characters of the movie. At each shift in the movie, the music shifted as well as it delivered the insanity or the splendor of exploration. To wrap things up, while I may have been disappointed when I realized that it was not James Cameron who had directed the film, I did enjoy the movie's artistic appeal. Sure, the acting wasn't the best. There may have also been a heavy testosterone influence, and the plot has been retold countless times. I would still recommend seeing this movie in 3D. Though, it is not a must-see, and if you can spare the change, definitely take it in. My suggestion? Wait until the Blu-ray if you're just going to watch the movie for the plot. See it in 3D if you want the experience. Isn't that what they always say? Finally, if we have to put this in terms of a rating, I would say that this movie warrants a 3 out of 5 stars. But really, what's in a rating? Don't see it, or do? Your choice.